Now, if I was paid $1 for every time I had to answer a question about a composting toilet, I would be an absolute millionaire. I tell you now, it's the number one question we get asked. And so today we're going to look at the toilet, the compost toilet versus flushing toilet and all those types of things, okay? So in this particular tiny house, we have a composting toilet. Now there are a number of different types of composting toilet that you can choose from. The choice is yours. We recommend a certain type, which is waterless. It comes in two parts, so it's split. There's your typical the toilet there, and then the bad stuff, that's outside. That's underneath the tiny house, and we'll take you out there in a few minutes to show you that side of the things. There are other ones that are micro flush. They require you to raise the tiny house off the ground, so a very large chamber underneath. So it's not our recommendation, but if you're looking for a compost toilet that does have a small amount of water, you can do that. And they are a very good system, but they are a lot more expensive. So in this case, our recommended compost toilet is a waterless compost toilet, and there's a number of different brands. So when you're in the office, we can recommend the one that we typically install, and that's this one here. Does it smell? That's your biggest question. No, it doesn't smell. Why? Because normally in a flushing toilet, you've got that layer of water on the bend of the pipe that stops any sewer smell coming up. Now that's not available in a compost toilet that's waterless, obviously, so they have a different system, which is a fan. Now that fan runs 24/7. It's a very small fan, it uses almost no power, but it is running 24/7. It's not noisy, you can't hear it, like if you're standing here you cannot hear it. If you were to possibly stick your head down the toilet, you could maybe hear it, just, and what that's doing is it's creating that same smell barrier that the water does. By constantly pulling air through the toilet, the air is always going down into the tubs and up through the vent pipe. So the smell is always going down. Some people make a reference to the smell in a composting toilet, and it's like an organic smell. That's generally the organic matter, sawdust or sort of wood shavings or whatever you're using that is the flush, as they say, for a waterless composting toilet, okay? And that'll be in like a little bin or a little chamber next to the toilet. So you'll do your business and then you can flush as such with a little bit of sawdust or something like that. So there's no water. The smell that you'll smell in the bathroom will be that organic matter that you buy, that's the sawdust or shavings, things like that. And essentially, it doesn't smell. If you want proof of that, because I certainly would, if I was buying a tiny house and I'm moving from a flushing toilet that I'm used to, and I'm like, oh, I just don't know if I believe you, because I've been to road stops where they have these compost toilets, and I'll tell you what, they absolutely stink, and that's the last thing I'd want in my tiny house. So my recommendation is you rent out a tiny house. There is a number of options that you can go and experience it for yourself and prove it to yourself that yes, in fact, it doesn't smell at all. In fact, it's a wonderful way to do the bathroom. It saves an enormous amount of water. It's a very environmentally conscious choice, and it's a really good It's a really good choice if you want to go that way. Now, if you're moving this tiny house into the city and you have access to mains sewer, don't bother with a composting toilet. You certainly can, but you can just get a flushing toilet, and a plumber can then hook that up just like any other toilet. He'll run a 100 ml waste pipe from the underside of the tiny house into a T-junction into your existing sewer system. Okay, so if you have sewer on your site, septic or main sewer, run a flushing toilet. If you're putting it in an off-grid situation where it's in a paddock or you don't own the land and you may be moving it every so often, go with the composting toilet. It's a fantastic option. Both are totally fine. Now, if you're not sure of what you want, go both. So ask us to install the plumbing pipe, the water pipe, in the wall prior. We cap that pipe off, and it's just with like a stop, like a plumbing stop. So there's a small silver terminated junction on the wall of your bathroom, and you can then install your composting toilet. If you, down the track, move to a spot where it's more permanent, you have main sewer or a septic system, a bigger system, and you want a flushing toilet, then you simply swap the toilet system out. Very easy then to connect the water, it's already been pre-plumbed. If down the track you don't do that and you go from a composting toilet to a flushing toilet, then someone has to do some, we have to break through the wall to put a pipe in, or it has to come up through the floor, and it's not as neat a finish. So it's not much for us to do that plumbing pipe if we know in advance, so ask us to do that, it's no issue for us. If you initially installed a flushing toilet and then you want to go to a composting toilet, that's easy because the plumbing pipe's already there. You simply remove the toilet, cap off the waste point, and then you install the waterless composting toilet. So that's an easy transition. If you're going from flushing to composting, easy. If you're going from composting to flushing, that's difficult if we haven't pre-done the pipe, okay? So they're the options available. Now I'm going to take you outside and I'm going to show you what it looks like from the other side, because what we do is we sell the composting kits. The toilet's installed here inside, and then it comes with 2 chambers. I'm going to go outside and show you what that looks like installed properly, and you've got to do that on site. We obviously can't do that because it hangs too low for transport. You have to do that yourself on site. There is a manual that comes with it, or I highly recommend you get a licensed plumber to do that for you. It's no issue for them.